it. I've said that over and over again since I announced that I was running for mayor 2 years ago. We have to be totally transparent. The city of Boston, it's time for us to equal the playing field. However, it's time for the community to be involved in the issues that are going on in our community. This is a historic year. There are those that did not want this to happen. But look at us now. We're fired up. We're ready for change. Also, as mayor of the city of Boston, I will change. I will change the current police commissioner. Because it's time for diversity in our community. Thank you.
Mr. White.
I'm in favor of a civilian review board of the police. I was for that back in 1997 when I first began running for office for city council at large. And shortly after I didn't make enough signatures, the mayor announced with his then commissioner Paul Davis, Paul Evans, that they would come up with a kind of civilian review board after my suggestion. But it didn't bear much fruit. This time, I'm sure that everyone who is running for mayor believes that the commissioner is doing a good job by and large, but...
Don't speak for them, speak for yourself. Speak for yourself.
Community. We give you an opportunity to answer. We'll make your decisions on September 24th. Let's give all the candidates respect. Thank you.
I have stated personally that I would not dismiss the police commissioner at this time. In January, he has the most experience at this time to deal with the issues of crime and especially terrorism coming up in
Community. One thing that I have seen is that's Mr. Wyatt's opinion and that's his answer. Let's move on to the next question. Hello. Sound of my voice clap once. Sound of my voice clap twice. See, that's what I like. Let's be able to give the candidates the respect to give their answer. We make our decisions on September 24th when we go to the polls. Can we agree on that? Yeah! Thank you. So, the next question is going to be around health care. Our community has gone through... Sound of my voice clap once. Sound of my voice clap twice. It kind of works. I do this with the kids sometimes. So our community has gone through the loss of several health centers, which has diminished our access to affordable health care. What steps do you plan to hopefully take to prevent from any more health centers closing? We're going to rotate this. We're going to go with Brother Charles first, then we're going to go to Mr. Wyatt, and then we're going to come back to Mr. Barros.
Can you hear me? Good. Health
Health
centers are near and dear to my heart. We have Harvard Street, we have Demick, we have Mattapan. We have Whittier. Actually, Whittier Street is where I got my first vaccination. However, Roxcomp has been shut down. And it's not right that it's been shut down. However, we have to understand, in order for our community to survive, you have to be invested also. Just as mayor of the city of Boston, I will be invested in the city of Boston. I will be invested in health care. I understand that when it comes to our children, over 40% of our children witness violent crimes in our city. However, we have to understand, if we're going to be part of this picture when it comes to health care, we're going to have to insert ourselves into this picture. So the Clemens administration will invest in health care. We'll make sure that in our schools, in our public schools, that we will have health care in our public schools. Also, I will make sure that when it comes to the decision of table, everyone will be invited to the table. Thank you.
All right.
do everything possible to maintain funding for health care. That is something that affects not just old people, young people as well, people who do not have jobs and are the most needy and those who need to be cared for the most in society. But we need to have access to emergency rooms because there are times when people do not have insurance. There are times when people do not have time to find their insurance card, their credentials. Every hospital in the city of Boston will have an emergency room. It'll be easily accessible, and this will be irrespective of any costs that taxes do not pay for. We will find the money to make sure that those emergency rooms are open.
Healthcare is critical. If you can't get up in the morning, you can't get anything done. If you can't show up for school, you can't be educated. If you can't go to work, you can't keep your job. But we've got some of the highest rate of absenteeism because things like asthma. Because we got to deal with the brunt of some of the failures of our systems. We've got to make sure that healthcare is front and forward for our families so our families can thrive and be strong. And one of the major issues in our community is trauma. A lot of us are dealing with some of the cycles of violence that leave us traumatized in the community. Our children are scared to go to school. They feel like they need to protect themselves so they can go to school and get an education. And that's not right. That's not right. We need to create safe communities. That's the biggest health problem that we've got in our community. We got to work with our healthcare system to do that. Obama has moved to healthcare reform, but we haven't been informed about the new rights and the new opportunities that we have in healthcare. And as mayor, we've got to make sure that we're educating our community in a way that we can take advantage to the new healthcare reform. Thank you very much.
I'd like to also acknowledge Jamal Crawford, write-in sticker campaign for District 7. Got to have me run for office again out here. But next question. Today, many youth programs have been automatically cut. What plans do you have to help support funding for youth programs? We'll start with Mr. Barrows.
Youth program is critical. I got my first job when I was 15, and I was working on one of those red and green shirts. Remember that crew? They made us cut the weed and all the vacant lots, right?
Clean up a dollar bill.
That's right.
A dollar bill.
That's right.
That's all right.
Picking up all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, but that's what helped me become the man I am today.
I know, but still.
That's what helped me to be who I am today. We need to invest in our young people. As mayor, I will double the budget for youth jobs day one.
Yes.
Make sure that young people have work. I will not just for the summer, but for year round. We need to make sure that young people are in positive opportunities to help their families out and help out their situation. Youth jobs did it for me, and I wouldn't abandon our youth as mayor. There's no need for us to be paying extra overtime for police to take care of crime and not involving our young people in the front end of things. We need to pay for the positive youth programming that helps to create leaders in our communities, and I am committed to that. Thank you.
Thank you. That was good.
As mayor of the city of Boston, I will increase the city funding
Just sounds so
to
good together.
$8.5 million. Have at least one extra. My bad. To have 1,000 extra year-round jobs for our youth. Expanding the youth age from 16 years of age to 14 years of age, and also increase the living wage of our city. Thank you.
All right, Charles. Thank you.
I've gone on the record as saying that we will increase the number of jobs for young people during the summertime at least 10%. But I've also gone on the record to say that I will make sure that everyone who wants a summer job, who is attending school, will have one. We'll find the money to subsidize extra jobs so that everyone has a job. This money probably will be coming from the State House, from the capital city. We do more things for the entire state. We should be able to ask the the state for extra money. And if you recall, there were marches to the State House. I was in one of them, not on this issue, but I would gladly march to the State House to dramatize the need for more money for jobs for young people.
Good to see you, brother. Always. Yes, sir.
We have recently been joined by Councilor Yancey. What I would not do is give him the last question and try to make him remember what was going on, but I do want to give him the 2-minute opportunity to introduce himself, and we're going to just have him just jump right into the lineup of questions from Ben. And also, any media that's here that would like to speak to the key organizers, please come over here. This is Maggie Brown. She's waving her hand. Let's give it up for Maggie for putting this event together with the other organizers. Give it up. And again, with the side conversations, you see I'm holding this microphone, so trust me, if you're going to have side conversations, please take it outside the tent so the other folks can listen to what the candidates have to say. And with that being said, Mr. Councilor Yancey, you have 2 minutes to talk to the crowd.
My name, you folks hear me? Yeah. This doesn't sound too good. How's that?
Same thing.
My name is Charles Yancey, and I'm running for mayor of Boston.
Hey.
I have more experience in municipal government than any of my 11 opponents, and they're all good people. But I came here, even though I left the city council hearing, I came here to say this. If you elect me mayor of Boston, we are going to have a strong, united city. We are going to have policies in place that allow Boston residents to have Boston jobs. We're going to have policies in place to make Boston the cleanest and those children the safest in the United States of America. And by the way, whenever you see a Boston public school bus, I want you to think about Councilor Yancey. I'm the one who got the law passed that put that crossing gate on that front bumper. That's right. That's right. And more than that, whenever you see one of our fine police officers who risk their lives every day to protect you and complete strangers, let them know that the reason the city is paying for their bulletproof vest is because of order I got passed in the Boston City Council. And if you visit the most technologically advanced library in the city of Boston, you will be at number 1350 Blue Hill Avenue, the Mattapan Branch Library. I'm just getting started. My name is Charles Yancey. I'm a son of Roxbury. And I'm asking for your vote. Born and raised right here. God bless you. And hopefully I have a couple more minutes for that.
You know how hard-working Councilor Yancey is. And with that, Councilor Yancey, what we've been doing is a minute to the question, so you're not going to be surprised by the minute. And Berman Coley is saying time. But next question, and we're going to start with
Yancey.
the community can call who's the answer. Answer just the question. There you go.
There you go.
So we're going to do 1 minute, and we're going to rotate it to the left, starting with Councilor Yancey. A lot of candidates talk about housing for the middle class, but in my community, we are majority low class. In your opinion, what is the difference between middle class versus low class, and what can you do to promise the low class will have more housing? Hold on, people. I'm just reading the questions that someone wrote, so I don't want working poor.
First of all, there are no low-class people in my community. I believe We must build housing that's affordable for everyone. Housing is not a privilege, housing is a right. And Mayor Yancey will make sure we have housing that everyone can afford. That may mean setting aside 1/3 of the housing for low-income residents, not low-class. There are no low-class people in my community. I will work with you to make sure we come up with policies that make sense, to make sure that long-term residents are not priced out of the housing market. You are here for the bad days, you should be able to enjoy the good days. Wait a minute, do I have another minute? No, sir. 5 seconds. My name is Charles Yancey. I'm asking for your vote for Mayor of Boston.
Affordable housing is critical for our community. Housing is critical for our community, and it should be a right. It is a right that everyone is housed. And we do have families in our community that are low-income families. 22% of the city of Boston, 22% of the city of Boston families are under the poverty line, the federal poverty line, of $23,000 a year. Y'all imagine that? Y'all imagine that? That's crazy.
Family.
So we've got to increase affordable housing and not let the BRA sell affordable housing to the developers and let them pay out of it to put it in a fund that we don't know where it goes. We've got to be serious about affordable housing. Affordable housing in every neighborhood. We can't have neighborhoods where we got public subsidy and we can't access. We can't be building an innovation district where we can't have people that make less money than $82,000, which is the area median income. That's not right. It's not just. We need to have a city that houses everybody. And as mayor, I will make sure, thank you very much, that we house everybody.
The middle class. I don't know who the middle class is. I'm focusing on the underserved. I'm talking about equaling the playing field. I'm talking about the 30,000 so-called affordable housing that Mayor Menino claims that's coming to our community. 50% of that should come to the underserved. Affordable housing is for those that make $10,000 a year, $15,000 a year, $20,000 a year. No one should be homeless in the city of Boston. We have turned our backs on our families. We've turned our backs on our community. And as mayor of the city of Boston, I will invest in our community. What our community needs is good homes, food, and shelter. When you have a community that's underserved, then you need to give that community more services than the other community. Thank you.
The mayor's plan calls for affordable housing. Some of that to be brought to Roxbury and the Dorchester, the inner city area. Affordable housing means that people will be spending 30% of their income on their either mortgage, I guess it would be mortgage. He's talking about purchase housing. My feeling is that 25% of a person's income should be the level that someone should spend on housing. And it's up to the developers to subsidize.
Hold on 1 second, Mr. White. Sound of my voice clap once. Sound of my voice clap twice. That's how silent we need to be when the candidates are talking, just to give them that level of respect, people.
It's up to the developers not only to subsidize the cost of affordable housing for people who are at that level of $23,000, $25,000 a year. It's up to them to come to Roxbury, Dorchester, and meet with the people and find out what they think and what their needs are, and to give them that respect. Thank you.
This is Sunshine, people. For those that do not know, she has an announcement.
So the announcement is this. The acoustics in this space are very difficult in general. The organizers of this event basically sacrificed everything that and publicly were attacked. So for everybody that's standing outside around near this tent and for the candidates that showed up to address all of our issues, please, we have to be respectful and just let's have them be able to respond so everybody can hear them. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Sunshine. So the next question that we have is, what will you do as mayor to facilitate diversity in the many departments in the city of Boston? We'll start at the very end with Mr. Wyatt and work our way back over here.
As mayor of the city of Boston, and education is the most important thing. It's the largest part of the budget. I decided to attend the school committee meeting that took place on September 4th, and I noticed that the interim superintendent and all three of his deputy superintendents were people who were not of color, I would think. So I asked one of the deputy superintendents, was that it? And he said yes. I believe that as the mayor of the city of Boston, I would retain the interim superintendent. I would ask him if he would find some way of increasing diversity in his upper level leadership. Everyone has already spoken about the need for people of color in the police department in the higher echelons. I know someone who happened to go to the same church I went to, had Christmas dinner as a police officer at his house 5 Christmases in a row, and I don't see him. He was a captain. He was wounded in service as a police officer in the city. I don't see him anywhere in the higher echelons of the police department. I'm questioning that.
As I stated earlier, the U.S. Census stated in 2010 that the city of Boston, 56% are people of color. That's black, that's Latino, that's Asian Pacific. As mayor of the city of Boston, I will use my executive power from the top to the bottom to revamp the city of Boston so that we can have an equal playing field. It's time for us, it's time for the city of Boston to look like the landscape of the city of Boston. It's time for us to have a police commissioner that looks like the landscape of the city of Boston, who cares about the city of Boston, who's fair to the city of Boston. It's time for us to have captains over the different districts, B2, B3, C11, C6, that look like the city of Boston. It's not right that we have white captains over black districts. It's not right and it's not fair, and it's time to do the right thing. However, city of Boston, you have to stop asking and start demanding for the right thing. Thank you.
You gotta start demanding on September 24th with your vote. That's how you demand it. That's how you demand it. I wouldn't keep John McDonough. I love John McDonough, but I wouldn't keep him as superintendent. Because we've got a school department that's 93% of color. Y'all hear me? 93% of color. We're gonna have to hire a superintendent who looks like the children of the school. That's right. We're gonna have to hire a superintendent who's qualified to come out here and work with our families, work with our parents, work with our stakeholders in the community so that we can have a quality education. We've got to do that throughout the city. That's why the cabinet level, every department at the cabinet level, we're not going to keep anybody. Everyone's going to have to reapply for a job. Where's Jamal? Where's Jamal? Everybody's got to reapply for a job. Because we got to make sure that everyone is going to buy into the vision of an inclusive Boston. We got to make sure that everybody's going to buy into a vision that everybody participates.
space. This is my brother JC right here. I just wanted to make sure you hear that from me. And you hear it publicly. Right? Because we've got to be serious about diversity. And I know I'm out of time, but this is serious. And you're gonna demand that on September 24th with your vote. That's how we gotta get this new leadership to the right.
First,
Sound of my voice, clap once.
Yeah.
Sound of my voice, clap twice. Just want to make sure.
thank you, Brother Darren. There is no one in this race for Mayor of Boston who has fought for diversity in every department in the city of Boston who's done that more often than Charles Yancey since 1984. I am going to make sure that we have every department that looks like the makeup of the city of Boston. In terms of women, people of color, young people, older people, we must have a city that reflects the demographic makeup. Otherwise, we're not able to effectively serve everyone in the city of Boston. And by the way, we should thank the leadership of Mamleo for having the courage to take on the Boston Police Department and the courage to challenge the police commissioner who theoretically are their bosses. That's right. They deserve support. And I say to Commissioner Davis, I will say if he was right here, as I say to him, in many city council hearings, when I look at the panel of superintendents and deputy superintendents and captains, I only see a token number of people of color. I will tell him today, as I've told him every year he's been commissioner, that he must do better. And he must respect this community. And he must respect the sisters and the brothers who work hard every day to protect complete strangers who happen to be police officers who are not treated fairly within the Boston Police Department. We have the power to change the entire city of Boston, and I will set the example. I will make sure that... Who said time? I thought you said time. You're my opponent. You don't count. Go ahead. Okay. Work with us. We will make the city of Boston a city that welcomes everyone, where everyone can participate in our government at all levels. Mayor Yancey will make sure that happens. Thank you very much.
All right, so one thing has been brought to my attention that there is some prior commitments that these candidates do have. So with that being said, I would like to ask 3 more questions if they have time for that. But I want the community to choose which 3 questions are going to come out of this. So it doesn't look like I'm period. So 1, 2, 3. If y'all can come up and grab 1 card. The candidates will answer these 3 questions. They'll have their closing remarks. I'm going to ask if at all possible we can debate.
Address the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a historic year in the city of Boston. This has never, ever, ever happened before. We were to be in that building across the street. However, God, it's called the Freedom House.
Jailhouse. Really? Jailhouse.
However, freedom is not free. Because we're fast moving and quick thinking down to the modern time.
Come on, right, brother. Come on, now.
Politically correct.
We have this tent that costs money.
Amen.
We have these chairs that cost money. We have these tables that cost money, and there's nothing free in this world. So I'm asking if we could, and I believe the candidates would agree, because it's time for us to start doing for self.
Come on.
It's time for us to stop begging for things.
That's right. Amen.
It's time for us to stop being proactive. Thank you, Terrence. I would love, if it's okay, to pass the hat or bag to help defer the costs of this historic event that's happening today. And believe me, I know some of you may not be able to give. Some of you may not be able to give. But in your heart, you want to. I feel that. But it's time for us to start accepting responsibility to rebuild our community. And it starts with you. You can't say Happy New Year until there's a new you. So I thank you for this time. And if I get 1 or 2 minutes, you can subtract this time that I use. But it's time, it's about doing the right thing.
So what we're gonna do while that bag is being passed around, duck it in the bucket, as my brother Jamal would say, we're gonna address these 3 questions. And again, this is not mandatory, it's appreciated. So if you can, it would be greatly appreciated. But with that, because I know we're on a time crunch right now, we want to get through these last questions.
And we know we said free and open to all, so it's by your own graces. You don't have to.
So with that being said, we're gonna just go through these 3 questions because I definitely understand as campaign managers are pulling on my coat over here, my shirt, saying I need to get my candidate. So the first question, we'll start off with Mr. Barrows. There's a lot of talk about affordable housing for renters. But
Is it 1 minute or 2 minutes you're giving me?
they still get 1 minute. Still 1 minute with the questions, and then they're gonna wrap up, and then I know they have to be out. There is a lot of talk about affordable housing for renters. What about the rising costs for homeowners? Increasing property taxes, and now we have to pay inspectional services per unit yearly. What are you planning on doing about that? And don't forget, we need to keep the noise level down from the back so we can hear the candidates in the front. Mr. Barrows.
Well, I understand that our city councilors meant well when they passed the law, the ordinance to ask you to register every apartment. But that was too onerous on our building owners. It was too onerous to have to pay $25 for every unit to register with ISD so they can come in and inspect your apartment. And I'm sure when they come in and inspect your apartment, they're going to make you make some changes. Right. And those changes are going to be passed on to whoever you're renting your apartment to. It's not right. It's not fair. I get what they was trying to do, but we got to reverse that ordinance and make it right. We also need to make sure in our community that affordable housing is afforded to the folks who are trying to buy homes, not just renting apartments. We need to increase home ownership and buying into our community. And so we need to make sure that it's just not Section 8, but that the Section 8 goes not only for rental, but the Section 8, more Section 8 goes for mortgage payments so people can buy their home. We give the training and opportunity for first-time home buyers. This is very important, and as mayor, I will commit to that. Thank you.
Brother Charles.
I will agree with John Barrows. However, we have to understand that it's not right that we're living under a threat of losing our homes. It's not fair that we're living under a threat of being homeless. So as the mayor of the city of Boston, I will use my executive powers to do the right thing because it's about doing the right thing. Our elderly should not be living under a threat of being homeless. Our elderly are an asset, not a liability. We stand on their shoulders. So I ask for your vote on September 24th for us to start doing the right thing and stop being afraid to speak truth to the perceived power.
The city of Boston keeps its money in banks around the city. Those banks should be the ones that give extra consideration to people who perhaps did not estimate how much money they would have and are in danger of losing their house because they missed one mortgage payment. As mayor of the city of Boston, I will deposit the money of the city only in those banks that have consideration, extra consideration for those people, especially in the town of my birth, which is Roxbury, back 59 years ago, especially who helped in this area where people have been in the past redlined by banks. That means the banks did not loan to people of color.
1 second, Mr. White. Can we get it quiet on this side over here? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Hello, 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 hello. Please take all extra conversations across the street. 2 more minutes, thanks. 2 more questions.
That's it,
Sorry
thank
about
you.
that, Mr. White. Councilor Yancey.
Thank you, Candidate White.
We have a major challenge in terms of protecting our senior citizens. For the past 10 years, I've been submitting legislation that will allow our senior homeowners to receive their senior exemption upwards of $1,100 a year automatically. Instead, those homeowners who happen to be senior citizens have to reapply year after year after year. So what happens if you forget to file 1 year? You lose that benefit, and we cannot afford to lose a benefit of $1,100. As mayor of Boston, I'll make sure that our seniors and our disabled and our veterans receive those benefits automatically, just as residential exemption. Secondly, I believe that we should have incentive programs to encourage the growth of additional housing in the city of Boston that can be easily owned and financed, not the predatory lending, but the sensible lending that's required for us to have a stable community. I just left a hearing in the city council. I apologize for being late. I just left the hearing on investing in Boston. Part of that, those dollars will go to investing in affordable housing for this community. Thank you very much. Appreciate your support.
All right, currently, why don't universities pay their share of utilities? Electric bill is past due at Northeastern. What are you going to do that as the current mayor of Boston?
Well, not only that, we should not only challenge the universities and nonprofits to pay their bills, they must pay their fair share of taxes in this city. And by the way, our water and sewer bills are too high, our electric bills are too high, and our gas bills are fairly reasonable, but they're too high as well. I will examine every utility, look at their profits, and develop a system working with the state to pay back this community and every community for the excess profits that they pull out of our community every year.
Most of the money that comes from the city of Boston so that we can provide services comes from property taxes. Over half of the property of the city of Boston is owned by large non-profits, hospitals, museums, universities, and they're not paying their fair share.
No, they're not.
They're not paying their fair share, and so who's paying it? We are. Who's paying it?
We are.
We got to make sure that the universities and the hospitals are paying their fair share. It's called a pilot agreement. And a pilot agreement needs to reflect what they're using. Because guess what? We still pick up their trash.
Yeah.
We still provide police.
All right.
We still fix the roads.
Come on.
So I'm not talking about taking from something that we're not providing. I'm talking about making it fair. And the university and the hospitals need to pay their fair share, both in utility and in taxes. We got to make that happen.
The city of Boston, we pay our taxes, and I am so sick and tired of the universities and the non-profits skating. Did you know in 2009, I submitted to the governor that if the non-profits and the colleges and the universities pay the same amount of taxes that we pay, it would generate $47 billion. $47 In 1 year. In 1 year. Now imagine if we could do that. In 2009, Massachusetts was in a $9 billion deficit. That means we would have had a surplus to reinvest in our schools, to reinvest in our homes, to reinvest in our children, to reinvest in community policing, to stop the eviction of our people in the streets. And as the mayor of the city of Boston, the Clemens administration will speak truth to their perceived power. How will it happen? It's real simple. It's about doing the right thing. It's about doing the right thing.
The universities, the colleges, the hospitals, they need to give more money to the city of Boston. But they're also in-kind donations. If they don't give money, they should make their facilities available to the people of the city of Boston. There are universities and colleges here in the city of Boston, in Roxbury, the Back Bay. They have NBA quality basketball courts. But can any of our people go in there, pass the security, and use those NBA quality basketball courts? Some of the buildings are built such as forts, where you cannot enter the building from the outside. You have to go somehow through some kind of corridor with your car, and it's like a fortress. And the people of the town that university is in do not have access to that building and its facilities. Under any administration of anyone up here, we would certainly make sure that the schools in the town that they live in Dorchester and Roxbury, Back Bay, will make themselves accessible to the people with the facilities that they have, which we need.
All right. Unfortunately, this last question we're not going to be able to get to due to the sensitive behind the time right now. So what I want to do is give the candidates an opportunity, minute and a half, most tops, minute and a half, Reverend Collier, to give their closing remarks. Then we're going to wrap this up with Maggie giving next steps in the statement, and that will be the end for this forum discussion. I'd like to give it up one more time for Maggie for putting this together and her crew. I don't know everybody, but everybody in the crew. It's been a pleasure, so we'll start off with Councilor Anthony. You want to go first? All right, well, we'll start it on the end. David Wyatt.
Thank you. I appreciate this time to be here. You know, speaking to large groups is not my thing. I'm unfortunately, if I become mayor, you're gonna have to get used to someone who is introverted, not extroverted, someone who has ability, who has experience, especially in education, someone who has been in the city for 59 years, but doesn't always talk in the most articulate fashion. But I appreciate this opportunity. I would be here with you anyway and do the best I can. That's what I've done. We need every voter to come and vote on September 24th. Be mindful of the candidates of color, of the great experience that they have here at this table, and any one of them, in my estimation, would be a good person to vote for. Thank you.
My name is Brother Charles Clemens, and I'm proud to be a black man in the city of Boston. I will end with this. I'm the only candidate that put a badge on, that walked the beat in beautiful Uptown Grove Hall, in Mission Hill, West Roxbury, Jamaica Plain, who has given his life. I'm the only candidate that walked 712 miles to give a voice, not for just the community, but a voice for the United States of America. I am the first name on the ballot. It's the first time in the history of the city of Boston that a black person, a black man, has been the first name on the ballot. I humbly ask for your support, And I will continue to take the issues of our community and put them on the forefront. You will not be silenced. Thank you.
Yes, sir. It's the first time a black man's been first on ballot, and it's the first time that a black man's been the last one on the ballot. I'm the last one on the ballot. Let me be real for a second here. I'm proud to sit up here with these 3 other black men.
Yes, that's right.
We've got somebody who just said he's an introvert, and this is hard work. Getting up here, talking about what he believes in. We got Brother Charles, who people get me confused with all the time. That's my twin right here. That's the hardest working brother on the trail. He gets to everything a half hour early. And then we got the dean of the city council. 30 years. I'm proud to say that I was part of a group that made Boston think about leadership in a different way. I'm proud to have the most black candidates, but the most candidates of color ever in the history of Boston. I'm proud. But I'll be more proud if on September 25th, the day after, that the story and the headline was that the community of color came out in masses. And the voters vote in Boston. And no longer do we have a city with 56% being of color and only 38% participating. But we have a city where 56% of color came out and voted and heard it. And if that happened, folks, we can all celebrate. We can all celebrate because it doesn't matter who's in office. They will be hearing our voices and we represent this community. Now I gotta say though, I love my people, but I'm asking for your vote. On September 24th, vote John Barrows. It's good to be here.
First of all, I want to thank all of the other candidates running for mayor of Boston, all of them, especially those who showed up this evening.
Tell me about it.
I am a very humble son of Roxbury. Even though I'm humble, I'm also very proud. One of 9 children of Alice and Howell Yancey, who fought many, many battles for this community. My brother Robert is here with me today. One of 9 children. We went to the Boston Public Schools. I was the first to attend college in my immediate family. After graduating from Boston Technical High School, I went to Tufts University, where I received a degree in economics. Later, I received my master's degree from Harvard University. Now, I mentioned that to say this. We have people in our community of great accomplishment. I am the longest serving member of the Boston City Council. Wait a minute, I didn't say longest black serving.
That's right.
I didn't say the longest black city councilor. I said the longest serving member of the city council with more experience in municipal government than any of my 11 opponents. And I love them all. On January 2014, there's going to be a new mayor in town. That mayor has to hit the ground running. I have challenged every department from the entry level to the highest levels, and I will make sure that I will set the tone for your city government to make everyone understand that we work for you. It's not the other way around. Brother Prophet will tell you that the police commissioner works for us. It's not the other way around. Brother John Marshall will say that the superintendent of schools works for us. Not the other way around. And Sister Betty will out there say, well, the city councilor works for you, not the other way around. And all of you will say that the mayor, especially if it's Mayor Yancey, Mayor Yancey works for us. God bless you. I'm asking for your vote. September 24th.
All right, with that said, hold on. We want to acknowledge the council, the candidates of color running for mayor of the city of Boston. Let's give them a hand as they depart ways to the next forum. But before y'all leave, I could not be, it would be a disservice not to recognize the ladies that put together this event. To the ladies that put together this event, please come take the mic. And share from the rotisserie. This is his property. He allowed us to use it to have this forum and electricity to have this sound. It's not the best, but it is here and available. So where's the ladies out of the hour? Maggie.
I'm on that too.
And one some donuts, some appetizer type food.